intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rudy's Retro Intel Live, urgent live stream today. And why is it urgent? Because my good friend, One Bit Fever Dreams, has sent me something that needs to be fixed now. So, hey, since we're here and we're talking, you and I have been talking a bit. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, tell them where they can find you, and what is this thing you sent me?
All right, everyone. My name is Mikael, and I'm known as One Bit Fever Dreams. I have a YouTube channel about Macintoshes usually, but I also have a secondary channel called Any Bit Fever Dreams. And the Commodore 64, I've always had one in my life. Like my older cousin was the owner of it originally. He sold it to me in the late 90s. And I've always fired it up every 3 or 4 years just for fun because I really enjoy the retro vibe it gives off. The Sid music especially, I'm a real fan of. And I ended up with 2 of his Commodore 64s, like these, and plus 1 extra from another collection. And now today in 2025, they all exhibit the famous black screen. And I know about some of the repair you can do about the Commodore 64s. It's a pretty common problem. I know they all have a voltage problem if you don't use the right power supply now. And instead of paying a fortune to buy every possible testing equipment, I thought, let's contact the maestro and send the board to Rudy to see what he can do about it, because I know he's specializing in Commodore PETs and Commodore 64s and VIC-20s. So let's see what you can do about it. So, and
I just want to interject here. I'm not a specialist. I just try to figure things out and
pull
up my hair
skills
and
of specialists, and you're higher in the ladder, my friend.
So, all right, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. So who do we have in the chat? We have David, Vintage Apple Tech. We have One Bit Fever Dream. You're there too. Wow. And myself and Francois. We have Carthor. Who else? And we have Francois. We have Garth Beagle, and yet another retro channel. And yeah, so we're off to a good start. Let me just flip cameras here, and we're gonna do an unboxing kind of thing. All right, let me just let's see here. What am I doing? Oh, come on. Why is it not going full?
One of the things that surprised me is I sent this at the beginning of the week, and it's at your place already. But one thing to say is that we both live in Canada, and yeah, I probably wouldn't have contacted someone from another country for this because it's not cheap for things.
Yeah, well, shipping it to me would be a lot cheaper than sending it somewhere else. I'm trying to figure out here why this is not going full screen. Why? No. Oh, come on. They're already in technical difficulties. All right. Well, we're going to leave like this for the moment.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Don't sweat.
All right. I kind of wanted to make it bigger, but all right. Let's just play with this for now and go from there. All right. So here's the package I got. I got this. And I got a box. Now, when this first showed up, Pure Spa, dual temperature. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't order this. And then it's like, wait a minute, I know it's from. So when the mailman dropped it off, it's like, wait a minute, is this the right package? I don't think it's. Then it's like, oh yeah, you did send it in that box, which is great. So let's look up the big package first.
Dave is saying a hit solo. I think that would solve your full screen problem.
Where is solo? Hello.
Maybe he's not using StreamYard. He's using another program, so maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to you. Anyway,
Hold on.
it's fine as is, I think.
1 sec. Let me see if I can figure it out here.
It's not like you're missing details right now.
No, but I want to get it bigger so that I can
Yeah, I know.
here exit solo. No. Oh, come on. This we had it working before. Okay. Well, let's just get going and see what happens. Okay, so we have looks like a lot of packaging here. And more packaging. Oh my goodness. How much bubble wrap did you put in this? You put enough to bubble wrap the space shuttle.
Yeah, the space shuttle.
All right. So we have this. Let's put this all aside. And let's open this up. Ooh, okay. So we have a Commodore 64.
And this is, you told me that this one's one of the earliest revisions possible,
Yeah.
like from 82 or 83, really first year stuff.
Yeah,
that was my older
here.
cousin's. Like he got in on year one pretty much.
Yeah, I don't. The numbers coming out correctly, or are they backwards?
Yeah, that's fine for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the assembly number is 326298. So this is a 1982 board, which is actually the one I have in my test machine, which we'll see in a moment. So yeah, so this is the board. This is really nice in the sense that all the main chips, so the VIC-2 chip, the SID chip, the PLA, the CPU, the character ROM, kernel ROM, basic ROM, and the 2 CIA chips are all socketed. So that makes it way easier and way a lot nicer for troubleshooting. Now the RAM is not socketed, and this RAM is not, it's not MOS. So that's nice because the MOS RAM, let me see if I can zoom in here. And is that showing upside down?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's try it the other way. Oh, there we go. So this is not MOS. This looks like it's Mitsubishi RAM. Anyways, it's nice because a lot of the boards came with the MOS branded memory, and those are notorious for going bad and need to be replaced.
So I made some modifications on this board. So I added the heatsink.
Yeah.
And the VIC-2 chip is like you put back the original one. Normally there's a heat shield there, and there's some paste to create a thermal link between the VIC-2 and the cage above it.
Yeah.
So I removed this because I upgraded the VIC-2 chip with the Kawari upgrade that you can get. It's a modern replacement, and one of the best thing it can do is create video signal for PAL stuff. So you can get your European software going perfectly with the video in sync.
Nice.
So you can also, of course, emit like North American signals as well.
So NTSC and PAL.
But one of the tricky things that you have to do to install this chip is that you have to cut a trace in the bottom left. I don't know if you noticed it, but I barely remember what I did because there's a trace that I had to cut, or a resistor in the bottom left.
Here?
No, the whole board, actually. No, on the top side, but bottom left. Yeah.
Okay, let's...
You see there's a little collection of resistors in the bottom left.
Yep.
But go, all the way of the whole board, though, not that section only.
Oh, the whole board, on the whole board. Yeah. Way down
at the left of the RAM,
Yeah, right over here.
There's something I had to cut in this region. I don't remember what exactly, but I had to do it because it's this old revision of the board.
Yeah, you can see it done there. Did you do this too, this resistor.
No, that's not me. I don't know
Okay.
what that is.
And then there's some changes here too. But that's probably factory because it doesn't look like it's been really modded. I mean, fixed. Although there are some. Let me zoom this out a bit so you can see a bit better. There are some flux residue on this board, so someone's been here touching things up.
Yeah,
And,
that's maybe during my cousin's ownership of this Commodore.
yeah, that's fine. So we will take a look at that.
And there's a comment about from Yark, yet another retro channel. Yark says Moss never made RAM. You're probably talking about empty RAM, maybe.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. You're right, Todd. Yeah, empty RAM. For me, empty RAM is the same as Moss.
Okay.
It's garbage, and they're in a lot of computers. I know they're in the Commodore computers. They're in the Apple, like I've seen some in the 2 Plus and the 2E and 2C, and the Spectrum, ZX Spectrums. I've seen a couple in. So it's not a very it's a very common, but the problem is they go bad, and it's like, okay, now you have to replace them. So what I want to do first is let's look at this board with the current VIC. If we get the machine up and running, then we're going to plug in your Kawari board, and then we'll see if that works.
So last time I powered it. It was using the VIC Kawari replacement board, and I used this for a few months. It worked great for at least a year. But last time I powered it with the VIC Kawari replacement, it was black screen, the classic black screen thing. And I also tried to send the video to a normal TV, and still black screen. So it would really surprise me if it worked right away with you putting back the original VIC-2 chip. But that would be really funny. It would end the stream right now, and you could go back.
Well, I don't know if it's going to end the stream, but we're going to try, because I don't know.
Both chip though.
I don't know if this VIC chip is good. I don't know if the other chips are good. However,
well, it was good when I replaced it back then, a year ago.
Yeah,
but who knows what happened since then?
Right. So I because if I'm running diagnostics and stuff, I'm not sure if it would pick up with this.
Yeah,
I don't know. So I always like to go back to unmodded if I can. Like if it's wired in whatever, then no. But if I can pull up modded chips, or for example, if someone puts a PLA that's the new version of a PLA, then I like to get my original, pop it in, or put these in my other machine, and then test it out. Because if it works in base mode, or I call it base mode, non-modified mode, then it's going to work hopefully with the mods, and it's not the system, it's the mod, right? Because right now we won't know, is the problem with the mod or is the problem with the base system. Todd says that's factory flux RF, and ports are hand soldered. Yeah.
So what would you tell like someone who wants to start repairing C64 machines, and apart from watching your videos and Adrian Black's videos, like the first objects you need in your arsenal would be what? A better power supply first?
Yeah, so your default power supply is not going to be very good, because they tend to go bad. I would not use the original power supplies. They have a tendency for the 5 volts DC to start creeping up. It goes like 5 volts and 5.2, then 5.4, 5.6, and next you know you have components being fried. So I would go and buy a new power supply. If you have a 64 and a 128, you can buy power supplies. It doesn't have connectors for both. If you have just a 64, you can just buy that one. If you want to use the old one, they have adapters you can buy that plug in between your 64 and your power supply, and it acts like a surge suppressor. It has like meters on there, tells you how much voltages are, and so on and so forth. So,
hey, Trina wants to be let in. Hey,
Trina.
Hey.
Hi, Trina.
Hey, who invited you? No. Welcome. I'm having trouble going to full screen mode, and I don't know why. See?
All right, listen, old man. So go back to the other mode. And then to the right, or sorry, to the left of that, I can't see it because I'm
Yeah.
not an admin on your account. There should be like a big square and then two small square or like
Yeah.
small
Show
squares beside it.
panel. Machine. Yeah.
No. The hell is he clicking on? Ah. There's like a whole bunch of options on the bottom.
On
Does
the
it need a
bottom.
Pro edition or something? A paying?
No,
No.
the bottom I
No.
have
No.
mute, stop camera.
No, 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 no. Okay, above that, but below the stream.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you see like? Well, okay, so he just removed himself.
Okay.
So there should be like one with a big square and then some little dots beside it. Try that. No, not that one.
Little dots. Okay. Edit
Yeah.
avatar. Edit mic. Stop mic. Edit name.
No, 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 no. Oh my god.
I think it's
like
the ban forever the Trina button.
No. Okay. Okay, we'll figure it out in a second. Let me just get going here. All right. So, yeah, the power supply is very important to get a new power supply because, or the adapter, because if not, you're gonna start damaging chips on your machine. And if you want original stuff, it's getting harder to find. If you want to get aftermarket, you can find them, but best not to do that because you don't want to. I have a 64 board that was blown up from a power supply, and there's traces on the board that have curled right up. So, and there's like more than a dozen. So I didn't bother. I'm not going to bother fixing it. It becomes a parts board, but it actually started like the traces came up the board and they went like this. So then
it's now a space heater for your office.
Pardon? Yeah.
It's now a space heater.
So, yeah, so that's the main first thing. The second thing is get yourself a diagnostic tool. Let me just switch cameras here. Okay. So, no. Why can't this be simple? You can get different diagnostics cartridges. The one I really like is this one. It's called a DES test, DESTEST. And what it does is it'll check your memory and so on, but it only requires very minimal chips to work. So in order for a regular diagnostics, like I have another diagnostics cartridge, this one needs, a lot of things to be working in order for it to run. However, this one here, the only thing it requires is that your CPU is good, your PLA is good, and your VIC2 is good. Everything else can be bad, and it will still come up on the screen showing you what's going on. And it does a really good memory test. It has the March B test, so it'll test all your memory. It doesn't test all your ports and all that stuff, but that's why I use another one here, another adapter. It's got the old DED test. This is DES, DES. So you need that. What else you would need? You would need some tools like, some IC pullers, extractors, whatever. You're going to need probably, this is a fiber pen to clean the connectors, which we'll do later. Or you could even go really cheap, which I did initially. I just bought erasers. I had this pink eraser. This is for pencils. And when they get old, they get hard. And the
that's not what I've heard about old things.
Trina. Oh, you're so bad. Now when they get old, they get hard, and which is nice because then it's easier to clean the edge connectors as opposed to when they're really, really soft. It doesn't, you'll wear up more of the rubber. So those are the kind of things you'd want. The other thing you're going to need a multimeter.
Erasers need to be period accurate with the Commodore 64.
Yeah, I think this one is. I think this is Pink Pearl. This is probably from 1979. I don't know. I got one with a diagnostic cartridge I have for the pet. This is the future was 8-bit. I have some other one. I don't know, but I usually just use the pen, the fiber pen, and just rub it and it comes off.
All right, Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to quickly interrupt. Check your Discord. I sent you a picture.
All right.
By the way, when do you retire so I can take your job?
Yeah, not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon.
All
Sounds
right.
like I should be
Pardon
taking
me,
it now.
people, while I look at this. Okay. Yeah,
So
I
you
see
see that below it? Yeah. So click on the one with the arrow pointing at it. There you go.
Okay, but how do I make myself big, like full screen,
Oh well.
so I can hide you guys?
Believe it or not, you're the same size no matter if you get rid of us off the side or not. That's the best you can do.
Oh, okay.
I want a
Yeah.
refund. All right.
Even the crappy program that Dave uses for a stream. I mean, hi Dave, nice to see you.
Sorry, Dave.
You can't go full screen.
You just kind of slipped in here. Sorry.
You thought this was a Commodore repair video stream, but it's a narrating of grievances video.
It's teaching Rudy how to use a StreamYard. Anyways, here's a multimeter K-Wheats. They're not expensive. It's great. The nice thing about this one is that when you leave it in auto mode and you put your probes on something, let's say it's 5 volts, it will detect that it's 5 volts and show you the voltage. If it's if you're measuring a capacitor, it'll show the capacitance. If it's AC, it'll show you AC, resistance, etc., etc. So you have to worry about changing knobs and so on. For example, real quick, I'm
not sure this one does capacitance, but it does a few things.
Yeah, it does capacitance. It says on it.
Okay.
This is my original meter from 1981 or 83. Still works. I use it, but you have to change. You have to know what setting you're doing. So if you want to look at the, DC voltage or AC voltage, you have it on DC. You're going to blow the fuse on the inside. So the new ones, they're not expensive, and they're, like I said, the auto feature is really nice. So what else? That's pretty much it to start off. Get yourself, print out some pinouts. So I have pinouts for all the chips here, so I know exactly what pin is where. This is the 6510 is the CPU, and it's all listed. Some explanations, the SID, and the
timing charts with the pins.
Pardon?
Do you have the timing charts of what's supposed to happen when?
Yeah.
With the delays and everything.
Well, pretty much. It's not everything, but it
would be really funny if we checked all the 200 pages you have there and you plug it in and it works and there's no repair needed and the stream ends.
Well, yeah. I mean, then you don't have to print this out, but I always have a copy on hand because I don't want to be looking at my computer screen and I have to go back and say, okay, it's pinned. What was it pinned again? And I have to.
And by the way, for those of you who are complaining about the heat wave there the other week, you can thank Rudy of Rudy's Retro Intel for helping climate change by printing off needless paper when he could just simply use a tablet like an iPad and have it sitting beside him and it would do the exact same thing. Just saying. Thanks, Rudy.
Okay. Now that we talked about climate change, let's get back to this. So the first thing, before that I show that, I want to show you something else that I have. You don't need to have this for doing repairs, but when I first started doing Commodore repairs, this is what I put together. So it's an Commodore 64, and what I did is I put ZIF sockets on everything. So what a ZIF socket is, it's zero insertion force, meaning that you have a lever. You can just pull the lever up and then the chip comes out. You can put the other chip in and close the lever and you can do your tests. So the nice thing is you can pull out if the chips are socketed. In this case, all the main chips are, but not always. You might find, most or just one of the chips are socketed, but it's easier then to pull it out, pop it into this board, and then turn it on, run diagnostic, see if it works or not. So we're gonna do some testing with this, but if you want to spend a bit more money, you can also then get a unit like this. This is from Backbit. It's called the Chip Tester Pro version 2. Basically, you turn it on, you turn the knob to select which IC, and then you hit, test, and it'll test it for you. The cool thing with this, it doesn't just do 64s, it does the Apple 2 Plus, 2E, it does the Z80 or Z80, depending where you live. Processor, it does whole Atari, whole bunch of different chips, all your TTL chips, like your 74LS04 or 244 or whatever. So there's quite a bit of chips. You can also, if you have a ROM that you want to copy, you can actually put the ROM in here and copy it, and then it's stored on an SD card reader on the side here. So it's more expensive, but the money I spent to get this going is about the same price as this. So you might just want to look at something like that, but you want some kind of tester to test the chips that you have. All right, so enough of that saying, let's get into some troubleshooting. So first thing is first, I'm going to move that over there. I have my power supply here. I'm going to plug it into the power, which is here. There's another thing I don't like about the 64. It's my pet peeve, is that this connector is the same as this one and this one. So you could plug your power into your serial port or into your video, turn it on, and you're wondering, why is it not working? It's like, well, now you made it really, really broken. So I don't like that. I guess it was cheaper for them to just, use the same type of sockets. Let's get power. So powering that up. I'm going to be switching back and forth to my external other camera because I don't have picture-in-picture set up or anything like that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just let us switch cameras to here so we can see the output on my Commodore monitor. I figure for doing a repair on a Commodore, I might as well use a Commodore monitor. All right, let's power it up. What do we get?
Does that say fart cat on the box?
No, it says fast cat. It's a...
Oh, it looks like an R from here, and I'm like, does that say fart cat?
Yeah, maybe for you it says that, but for everybody else it doesn't. So we're getting a black screen. Let me switch.
Rudy, are you absolutely sure that the video selection switch on the back side of your monitor is choosing the front? I think you can toggle back and forth between the back and the front.
Yeah, but see how the screen... Oh, you didn't see the screen. Let me just double check that. No, I think it looks right. Actually, what we can do is do this. Let us unplug your board temporarily. Put that to one side.
Yeah.
Oh, is this your board, one bit?
Yeah, it's one of my 3 C64s that I sent. It was the main one I was using, and it started working a few months ago.
So let's plug in my unit, make sure it works before we use it for testing. And I'm going to switch cameras again. I wish there was a combination I can just switch cameras, but there probably is. I just don't know what it is.
Are you using OBS?
No.
Nice.
You need to use OBS.
So it's not coming. It's clear on my screen, but on the camera, it's not the best. I have to get another camera, like a better camera.
Well, we can see the cursor blinking. It's
Can you
fine.
see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the switch setting on the back is good.
Yep.
The cable is good. Everything is good. So let's plug in your board back in, and let's plug in the diagnostic cartridge. So, yeah, this is an excellent cartridge. If you want to.
So what is the diagnostic cartridge called for that, by the way, Rudy?
DES test. DES test.
Okay, I also heard about a dead cart test.
Yeah, there's a dead test. Dead, like DEAD, like dead, like
Yeah.
That's the original one. And this guy Matthew Desmond actually made a new one called Des because his last name is Desmond. So this does that plus more. That one, it comes up and it'll start flashing if there's a memory problem. This will actually come up and tell you which memory location is the problem. That one base
Right.
has flashes, and you have to look at the manual and so on and so forth. And that's not always right, but this one is much better diagnostics. Now I like this one also is because I don't need to have a full Commodore 64 working. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you're here or not, but you need the CPU, the PLA, and the VIC2. If these three chips are working, this will display information. If this is not displaying information, it could be one of these three, or it could be another chip that's causing an address and a bus conflict on the board. So I'm going to switch back to the other camera, and we're going to flick this on, and we're getting just a white screen.
Ooh, progress from black to
We're
Oh,
getting
there you go. Now you got
white
a black
border,
square.
but no, it's
Nice.
not working. All right, so switching back. Okay, so because this DES test can use these three chips, so I can either pull these out and test them, or I can pull out the other chips, because these other chips are not required for the DES test to work. So what should we do? Should we test these? Do we think the problem is the CPU, the PLA, or the VIC2, or do we think the problem is the character ROM, kernel ROM, basic ROM, or the two CIA? These are the CIA are complex interface adapters. They are used for the time, the clock. They are used for the keyboard and the ports. So
Well,
I would
Garth
I would
said
say
the PLA.
you
Yeah,
think
I
it's the
would say-
PLA?
That's right.
Okay, so let us do.
I was going to say I would try those chips that you mentioned that
Yeah,
these
the
that
ones
Dream
here?
I would start
thingy-majiggy.
with that.
Well, 1 bit. It's your computer. What do you want to do?
I'll go with Garth. Try the PLA first.
All
I know
right,
it's a common failure point, so
that's what everyone says.
especially with voltage. So, like a lot of people complain about it being fried.
See, that was the one I was going to suggest as well. Was those three chips?
Oh,
the
but
DES
wait, there's a
tester.
comment from Yark. Yark says if that's the original PLA from that board, it's probably 82S100, which are extremely reliable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. But I wanted to make this stream more interactive, so that I want to get everybody to start.
Well, don't listen to me. I'm the one with 3 dead Commodore 64.
Well, let's pull it out. So this is U17. U17 in some boards is located on this side, some located on that side, some is located slightly different. So if you're working on the 64s and you want to pull the PLA, look for U17. It's always marked the same, but the location can be different. Now, this won't fit on my computer because this heatsink is so big. See how it sticks out?
Oops.
And I know it won't fit in my socket. So what we're going to do, since we've been talking about using the diagnostics, I'm going to pull out the Chip Tester Pro and show you how it works.
Sweet. Where do you buy the Chip Tester Pro, Rudy?
It's called just look for Backbit. But yeah, no, Backbit. Yeah, and I think it's backbit.io.
Okay.
The lady runs it. His name is Phoebe. She's really nice.
This is not it. This is just a backbit cartridge.
So they
for,
sell
storage.
cartridges. Yeah, and I have an older one, but this newer one here has an adapter you can plug into the cartridge, and that allows you then to plug it into the Commodore 64, the VIC-20, the Apple II, the ZX Spectrum, I believe it's also the Atari and a bunch of other computers and consoles so you can have one cartridge for all the computers. So you have to buy one for each one. You can just buy one it's like one ring that rules them all.
Just like
Backbit has
the
a
ring
lot
on
of
your
really,
finger,
really cool
Rudy.
stuff for a lot of machines.
Yeah. So I'm picking MOS technology, and I'm going to be searching. You can see here that it's, I don't know if it's showing up. I can pick different components, so on and so forth. But I'm going to pick the one that we need here, which is this one. And then I'm going to put this in here. And then you press test. And it passed. And it's the 906.114-01, which is correct. So it's passing. So it's not the PLA. So
What about those? What about those other two that you
okay, well,
mentioned?
let's put this one back. Actually, before I put it back,
Is
I'm
it
gonna-
deoxit time?
yeah, this board is pretty dirty.
Sorry.
Kind of like Trina's mind, you know.
Hey, hey! I resemble that remark.
That's funny. Okay, and make sure you plug it in the correct way with the proper. Okay, so that is in. So what do we think next? We think it's the video. Oh, sorry, let me just go back out here.
I would say try the video because
Is
you
it the
might.
video
seems to
or
be
is
a
it the
video issue.
CPU?
I
What
would
do you
go
guys
with
think?
video.
Hmm?
Video.
Video?
Yep.
All right, so let's pull out this chip. Now, this is a pain because the metal bracket here is so, let me see if I can zoom right in here. This metal bracket is so close to the edge that it's difficult to get. Like I have this tool here that will go inside and grab. You could grab the IC and then you just do that and it pulls it out. But it's, or this one here, but this one is it's very difficult to get it in. So I have to kind of harden my head here and I have to kind of get in there and see if I can kind of coax it out without.
You're having a problem getting it in, are you, Rudy?
Oh, Trina, don't you have to go to bed now or something?
I just woke up from a nap.
All right, let's see if I can get this thing out without. It's a ceramic chip, and I hold on.
Fear about breaking it.
I don't want to break it because it's a nice ceramic chip. I mean, if it's bad, I don't care, but you know, maybe it is good. We don't know. Let me see if I can get this.
Oh, I think I see some. It looked like it wiggled a bit.
Yep, it's coming slowly but surely. It's with this, with repairing 64s or any other computer, you have to just, you know, take your time. Don't be rushing things. Don't be rushing to pull things out or put things in, or you know when you're desoldering, make sure you don't
thinking.
You don't start just getting impatient and doing stuff. Like this one here's a nice chip. Look, it's got gold legs on it.
Oh my God, you're rich.
Ceramic. So if this is bad, I'm keeping it.
Rudy,
put it as a
Rudy, is there in like kind of in the middle of that? Like I'm seeing some white goo.
Yeah, that's the
around
thermal
the
paste
top.
that I removed when it had a metal shield above it. So there's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just thermal paste.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we have this.
Rudy, there's a comment. I'm gonna stop you just for a second.
Okay, let's look.
Yark says I check voltages, clock, and reset before going any farther. I'll also pull the SID, not for diagnostic purposes, but so that it doesn't get damaged while working on it.
Okay, I don't think the SID will get damaged, but I respect that. I will check the voltages in a moment. Since we have this out, let's check this. Let's check this chip. I usually check the voltages. I just check them. I know people like to go to the ports and measure it across. I actually like to measure it on one IC as opposed to measuring it off the ports. I like to measure right what it's going. But we can do that in a moment. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so we plug my board in here. And as you see, here's the VIC-2 chip. I can pull that out. And I can put this in, close that lever, hook things back up. I apologize, I have to keep going back and forth with the cameras, but I'm going to eventually get this all working and figured out. And
yay!
Yep. So it's not the VIC-2 chip. We are getting a signal. Yay! Let's switch back. Okay, so I'm gonna unplug this. Because I've had two power supplies, I don't have to unplug things and plug things back in. I can just leave in the bench, but I don't do that many repairs.
So those sockets, by the way, that you have in your Commodore 64, you desoldered the socket that's in there and then soldered.
That's correct. Yeah, so it'd be like this. You have to desolder them, and then you buy these. They're called ZIF sockets, zero insertion force, and then you just solder right into the board, and then it's got a little handle, little lever.
You might start from a point there where there's not even a regular socket at first. Sometimes they're solid on board.
Well, the other thing too is that maybe if I can zoom in here, let me just show you something here. So, okay, so here's the socket. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit more. No, the sockets have pins, or not pins. They're like little wipes on each side, so that they actually grab the IC. On the Commodore ones, there's only one bar. You see a little shiny thing in there? So I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's a little a metal tab. That's it. There you go. The tab will grab the corner, the edge of the pins. These are notorious for going bad. So what I do is I replace and put the double wipe, so they have tabs on both sides. Hold on.
Gotcha.
Let me just show you. So here's an example. It's not the same size, but you get an idea. Yeah. There's tabs on both sides so that it makes a better connection on the chips, right? So when you replace them, I would replace those. I found a lot of times that the problem wasn't the chip, it was the socket. That was bad. But let's see if I can get this back in. Yeah. 1 second. All right.
By the way, this the quality assurance passed number 3, according to the sticker.
Yeah. Better talk to them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. There's also the sockets that have rounded pins. Yes, those are called the machine pins. You can use those too. I'm not a big fan of those. I only use those on certain circumstances. Like, for example, if I have to replace a ROM and I have a ROM adapter, the ones I have come with those machine pins. So I would put a machine socket in there so that it fits in and it holds it nice. If you put the machine socket in and you put a regular one, it goes in, it's fine, but I'm not a big fan of those. I know a lot of people like them. Adrian is a big fan. Seems like he's a big fan of them. Adrian Digital Basement. I'm not. I like the dual wipe sockets, but yeah. So let's.
By the way, you're not the only one, Rudy.
Back in.
Both Retro for You and Carther has also said they don't like them as well. So
yeah,
actually, Retro for You said I hate them. Not only I don't like them.
Oh my
I hate
goodness,
them.
hate. That's a hate crime. According to some people. I agree. I like the double wipe ones because if there's a problem, you can always bend the pin, right? Like if the tab is bent for some reason, you can always bend it back and then you're good to go.
Yeah, I did this for a NES. It required so much effort to get any game going. Well, once I bent the pins inward of the socket, the cartridge socket, now it's fine every time.
Yeah. So, but Commodore was notorious for putting really cheap quality sockets on their products, especially on the Commodore, like early Commodore computers and like the PET. Terrible. 9 out of 10 times I end up pulling out the sockets because the problem is the socket. So I'm going to power this on and we're going to see if we can get a voltage. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to look. This is the PLA and pin 28 is VCC, which is should be plus 5 volts. All right, let's double check. I don't have the data sheet for that, but it should be that one or pin 14. I think it's pin 28. So this is ground. Let's see. Can you see my meter? Yes.
Yep.
What are we getting? 5.029. Yeah, it's right on the money. I didn't think this was a problem. I could measure the other voltages and so on, but I'm not going to at this moment because all I care about is the 5 volts. All right, so the PLA is good. The SID is good. The VIC-2 is good. So do I pull out the CPU next or do I pull out the other chips? What do you guys think?
CPU?
Anybody in comments? What do you guys think? What should we do next?
Hold on. I'm going to type it in the comments since Rudy's taking the comments.
All right,
Okay.
CPU.
We have one for CPU, two for CPU.
It was Trina's turn, so CPU.
So we got two CPUs. All right, let's pull up the CPU next.
The thing is, though, we could be doing all this for not, as you mentioned, that socket could have gone belly up.
Well, we don't know. We have
But
to, first we did see, is it the socket? Is it the chip? But maybe it's not these. Maybe it's these. Maybe it's the memory. There's other support chips that could be causing problems. Or maybe the memory's causing problems, like an address. The CPU doesn't know what to do because there's conflicts or shorts or whatever, right? So you have to, basically, what I try to do is look at a problem, divide it in half, right? Test one half, test the other half, and then if those, two quarters are good, I go the next 2 quarters and just keep, going half and half until you find something. Or you can, better still, look at the schematics, right? Like I can pull up the schematics and start looking at things. But looking at schematics is great, but I want to take measurements. If I have socketed components, it's just so much easier to pull the socket components out and test them as I sit there with the oscilloscope going through them all, right?
Garth asked a good question. Are any chips getting hot? And
no.
I would imagine that the VIC-2 chip gets hot because it naturally has a thermal shield above it normally.
You should put a heatsink on that, but nothing is getting hot. Oh, and I shouldn't be doing it with a ring on because you might short something. But I'm not finding any heat.
Speaking of one ring,
you're doing it for showmanship. If there's a sparks, it's gonna.
Then it's like, Rudy, you really broke my computer.
Well, I've got 2 more, so it's fine.
But they're broken too.
Yeah, we're gonna do more streams.
Yeah. Yeah, these heat sinks are massive. Right? It makes it harder to pull out the chips.
Are the heat sinks normal on those? Like,
I added them myself.
No, they don't come with the heat sinks, but it's a good idea because these are older chips and they're going to get hot.
Yeah.
And if you want to keep them going for a long time, then you should put heat sinks. It doesn't hurt to have heat sinks. I mean, it's better to have heat sinks on stuff that you don't need than no heat sinks on the stuff you do need. Because certain things get hotter than others. I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to plug in my other 64. We're going to test with that. So let's move this over. Just to show you again.
Wouldn't it be better though to test it with the chip tester just so we can see it's okay?
Yeah, but if I plug this in and it comes on, it's pretty much you're pretty close to saying it's good, right? The chip tester will do a more in-depth testing. It might show up as good, but then there's other issues with it. But a preliminary test,
you just save a few seconds like fiddling with the menus in the tester. So this one is just flick a switch.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get him content one bit.
Yeah.
The longer he goes, the more content he has.
Now, this thing is so hard to see where the notch is because of the heatsink. Okay, I think it's there. Hopefully I don't plug it in backwards. That's why you don't need the heatsink to go all the way across. All you need is like to cover, the majority. So if this is the chip I want to put a heatsink, as long as it goes like that, you don't have to have it where it's going past the chip.
That's a good tip.
All right, let's do the old camera switcheroo. And we're going to fire this up. And what do we get? Oh, it's working. It's not the CPU. Yay, or boo, depending on how you voted. There's Thomas Armstrong. Hello, out in the park.
So could it be the SID chip? And the SID, a faulty SID, give you a black screen as well?
No, it shouldn't. It could. It could be the fact that it's it could be causing a bus conflict. right? So it's causing, like, it's not dead, but it's causing problems on the bus line, so it's confusing the other chips.
All right, Yark says that yes, it can.
Yes, it can.
Let's keep that in our pockets for later.
Yeah, I find that it can. He's right, 100%. But I don't think in this case, because come on, I want to get this in first without bending the legs. 1 second. Yeah, it can cause all kinds of problems. Again, it's sometimes, it's hard to determine other than just playing around with what is, what you think. I mean, really, I should be doing is getting the oscilloscope out. Hold on. Getting the oscilloscope out and testing it, right? Then I'll know for sure. Am I seeing conflicts on the SID? Am I seeing it on the CPUs? Am I seeing it on the ROMs? Am I seeing it on somewhere else? And then you can use schematics to kind of follow the traces back. And why is this thing not?
Rudy, can I ask you to double check the notch? Is it on the right side?
Yes, it is on the right side. It just, the socket is just.
Yeah.
Oh, the socket is not happy. Pardon my head.
Oh, we can't see your head. All we can see is your hands. You're good.
There we go. All right, it's finally in. All right, so just to make Todd happy, we are going to pull out the SID. This makes the music and the sounds and all the good stuff.
And the paddles.
Yeah, there we go. Let's pull that out. We're also going to deox it. Ooh, this socket looks terrible. It's not a very nice looking socket. Okay, so let's plug this back in. Again, I would be using an oscilloscope before I got to this point, but that's okay. I'm going to kind of show you simple ways to do some testing. So let's do the old camera switcheroo and turn it on. And we're still getting the same
widescreen
from here. Yeah. So,
but it was black before, now it's white.
Well, yeah, it depends. There you go.
Oh, border. Okay.
Okay. So, let's switch there. Okay. So, like I said, we'll leave that out because you don't want to damage it. We can, I think it's fine, but we'll find out later. So, like I said, the DES test only requires a CPU, the PLA, and the VIC2 chip to work. So
and you've confirmed they're good.
You can pull everything else out. So
right.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling everything else out.
Go nuts.
Let's go nuts. So what I'm going to do is when you're pulling stuff out, I lay them out. You really can't.
You just put the whole board in your oven at 450 and just shake it, and then they'll all come out.
No. When I'm pulling chips out, like they're, you eventually end up memorizing the numbers on them as to what's what. But I pull them out and I put them I lay them on my bench in the order that they came out, right? So I know which ones go where and which, I don't have to sit there and worry too much about it. These ones are really.
We can always ask someone to go back in the stream and double check.
Well, I can always also look it up.
We have to dedicate some offload some of the work to the watchers.
So let's get this one out.
So these are the CIAs, yeah.
These are the CIAs. Let's get these out.
That sounds crunchy. Is that?
Yeah,
normal?
it's very crunchy because the board is very. I mean, you can't see it on the screen, but it needs a good bath. All right.
Do you have an ultrasonic, Rudy?
Yes, I do, but I don't think we have time to do that in the stream. Plus, I'd have to charge 1 bit extra. You have to pay double the price, which is free times 2, so it's free. Okay, so what do we think now? I think this is going to work, not work? What do we think?
No.
No?
There's
nothing
like
this. It requires those 3 chips.
It only requires these 3. So
Yep.
if it's one of these chips or one of the support chips, this should still work. This should still come up.
Exactly.
Like with a menu.
But what I'm saying is I think it's an issue with the video socket. I am gut feeling on that.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, let's us.
Well, if it was a
Oh,
RAM
oh.
issue, would it have behaved the way we saw it, or something else?
No, we should be getting a menu, and it'll tell us that the memory's bad. It'll start doing memory stuff.
There was a short, you would have seen it on the multimeter.
If there was a short, then no, you could, it could be a short that's not allowing the video to get to the port. It could be a bad capacitor, broken resistor, could be many things, right? Usually I find that the boards are usually pretty good. It's just one of the ICs. It's not the other components that I found. I found some transistors that are bad. It could be some of these transistors. But
all I'm going to say, Rudy, is one time I told a person that the OS, oh, hey, babes, that the OS never causes a blue screen
right?
in Windows. It's always a hardware related, and I was proven wrong. So,
Can you
see?
guys see this?
Yeah,
Well,
still white.
we see some characters, but we don't see the
Oh.
details. Can
Let me
you
see.
reduce the brightness real quick on your monitor?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help. Oh yeah, that's a diag. Oh yeah, that's getting better.
That's good. Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So it's
So
really
it
dim
is
on
what-
my end, but it's running. See, can you read that? Probably
We
not.
can't read it, but we see that it's coherent text.
Right.
You know?
So what it's doing now, I apologize. I have to get a proper camera. I got to get rid of this webcam. My upper camera I got for my birthday, and it's the Sony ZV or ZE10. It's
Z,
an excellent camera.
you have to say Z. here.
So I want to get another one get rid of this one here. But anyways, it's testing the memory right now. And
Yeah, we see some green check marks there.
Right. So depending on the border, see there's a blue border, it's testing this location from 004 to 00FF. If the different colors will tell you which part of the memory. So that's zero. That's the Z page or zero page stack 0 to 4K. The color RAM 4K to 32K, 32K to 64K, and then 1K to 64. So this will change colors based on. It will change colors based on what test it's doing. So, and then it shows what kernels and so on should be there. This is a pre-release copy, so the full release copy should be on a company called RetroRewind.ca. They sell the stuff. So it seems to me that we're getting video now. So this is good, right?
Yeah.
Right, I think so.
So test the
Really cool.
test the chip that you just pulled.
So we've pulled all these chips out. We don't know which one it is, right? Now we
Don't turn
can.
off the computer though.
Why? I just did.
Well, you were testing the memory. Why not let the mem test go through?
Well, let's get the rest of it going first, then we'll do the mem test. It was going through anyways. It was showing green, so it goes through pretty quick. It does a good job. It's an excellent tool. So what I'm going to do is let's put in the CIA chips.
Why
so
not
what-
test
all
them
I'm
on
trying
your
to-
chip tester though?
We can do that too, but
Yeah, I would
if
do.
you
I
don't
would do
have
that
one-
before you put them back in.
if you don't have one, then this is another way to test it, right?
Yeah.
Let's put in one at a time. It could be more than one chip. It could be just the one chip. Well, let's find out. If we put this back in and we find that there's a problem, then we know it's that chip, right? Wow, these are really crunchy.
Mm.
Gonna do the old switcheroo.
Kernel.
Well, it's
Oh.
testing. It's working. Okay. So let me put the next one. I'm not going to change camera. I'm just going to start putting some chips back in. The next CIA. Again, with it being socketed, it just makes this job a lot easier. A lot easier. If they're not, you have to have to get your probes out, find out which one is causing the problem or you believe is causing the problem, then desolder it, put a socket and test it, and either replace it or put it back. So the other chip is good. So well, we know so far. I'm going to switch back here I'm going to put this chip in now. This
And
is
there's a definite possibility that you could be inserting back all the chips and it would work, and it's just a matter of a dirty socket thing.
it could be, yeah. That's the other thing. When I'm pulling chips out and they're in sockets, have you noticed? I always put deoxide out or some kind of contact cleaner. I don't put things back the way they were. I always do my best to clean it. So let's go back to here. Flick this on. Yep, this is working still. So that's
It's
good.
inching towards that scenario.
Well, let's see here. Any guesses? Anybody? Is it the kernel ROM? Is it the
50-50 now.
character ROM? Which one is it?
Or there's no bad chips.
Or is it bad sockets? Or
It might
okay,
be.
so
It
the
might be
next one
just
is
needed to be
in. Let's try
reseated.
that one.
Oh man.
So far we have the two CIA chips. Now, I'm not saying that these are all testing fine. They're not causing the problem that we were seeing on the screen. They could still be bad, right? These run a full diagnostics. These two are good. So the basic and the kernel ROM. Let's plug in the character ROM, and then we'll try it again. Maybe it's the ROM. Maybe it's the socket. Maybe it's both. Let's take a look.
So let's take in the bets. Oh, too late. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting nothing now.
Character
Okay,
ROM.
so
Interesting.
let's go back, and yep, these are all incorrect. Let's pull this chip, and I have replacements because, as they say, spares are good. Let's take this out, and I have my replacement.
Rudy, one thing I would do just before you put your replacement in, just turn it on one more time to make sure we're.
Yeah, double check this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
wow.
It
Okay.
looks good. So
Yeah.
I believe we can safely assume that the problem is that IC. So let's pull out
We
another
do
one.
live in a deterministic universe now.
Yeah. The problem is, if it's something simple like a bad character ROM or a bad, chip, you replace it and you're done. That's good. It's when you have problems where it's more than one problem. You can have, a bad, a bad CIA chip and this is the character chip, and maybe it's also a bad, PLA chip. Where do you look? And that's going to be a little bit beyond the scope of this live stream because we'll be here for a while. But
yeah, like the future test would be to double back and test them each individually in the Chip Tester Pro.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay,
just buy a peace of mind for sure.
Let's see.
Oh,
so it was that chip. So it's a bad character ROM. So
now I'm really curious. Can you test it real quick in the Chip Tester Pro?
We sure can. So in the meantime, you enjoy this view while I set up the Chip Tester Pro.
Well, we would if you weren't on camera.
So it's just cycling across all the tests. That's it's trying out the characters and filling RAM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go old school. We're gonna plug it into my other computer. So let me just turn that off, and I'm going to unplug it from here, and I'm gonna plug it into my ZIF socket machine.
Can you show that on the camera?
I can show, sure.
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm gonna pulling this out, putting this one in.
Sorry, I thought you meant this was a special testing, like a tester, not just a Commodore 64.
Well, I have I have the actual, this tester here, right? And I can test it in there, but I just wanted to, show you that this setup is actually very good for testing if you're just repairing 64s, right?
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
So let's see. Do we get? Let me switch back. And do we get video? No. You get nothing.
Nice.
So it is that chip. Now what I'm going to do is pull it out.
By the way, Trina, do you have a working C64 in your collection?
I don't have a C64, and I want to kind of get into start repairing them. So I've been trying to find like a broken one that I can start playing with. Hint,
So
hint, one bit, since you got two of them.
Well, I have 2 more spares. I can definitely send you my third one. No problem.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
okay, so I have a replacement one. I popped that in. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna quickly. What time is it? How long have we been on here for?
1
It's
hour,
4:05.
5 minutes.
Ooh, okay, we're going a little slow. I think it's because of Trina's fault, but that's okay. I'm gonna let this
Shots
run.
fired.
Let's
Nice.
see. Emery's gonna pass.
Very cool.
Hey, look at that. Rudy's Retro Intel is taking after Trina's Technobabble and is running MemTest on the
Uh-oh.
Commodore 64.
So it's passed, going to all the memory. Let's see how it goes. Again, I apologize. It's probably not coming up very clear or readable on the screen.
I'm reading
you're
the
fine.
comments, and Yark suggests putting the SID back.
Yes, we will do that
fine.
after. I want to test the memory since we're here, and we'll put the SID back. And it's all green, all check marks.
Nice.
So we're looking good. All right, let's put the SID back. Let's put the SID back in because it could be the SID chip too, right? That's causing a problem.
Although, I remember when Yark mentioned about the SID chip, he did mention also that it was rare, that it would
Yes.
be that chip.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that means
So-
it's possible.
I mean, there's always that possibility, but
And
Yeah.
it's working. It's doing its test.
Yeah.
Yeah. The I have a couple of them here. That the A2S100N is the more rare SID chips. They have better quality sound and so on. So it's passing this. Okay, that's great. So what I'm going to do now, real quick, is go back to here. We're going to pull this one out. I'm going to put in this connector, this other tester. There's another test adapter that we can use to run and test all the ports. Now,
and who
before
makes that one, by the way?
this one I just bought it from some guy on eBay. It's called a dual diagnostic. It's
Some guy on eBay.
Yeah,
that's-
just find
Yeah.
the guy on eBay. How hard
You know,
is it?
I just walked down the road. There was a guy with a trench coat, and he just opened up
Yeah.
his trench coat and went, "Hey, do you
Yeah,
want a tester for your C64?"
exactly. I think the software is called PC or 64 Doctor. We'll see when it comes up. But I had bought this adapter many years ago. Let me just
15.
Well, have you noticed what I'm doing here is I'm just rubbing my the fiber pen over the connectors to clean them because they get dark color.
They do look a little grungy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole point of this part is to ensure that you're picking up as much of that grungy off it so that it makes a nice clean connection. And it doesn't take
John
long.
Little said trench coat equals trustworthy. There you go.
That's right. The other
And
thing
also-
too.
And
Breaking
also
news,
Worms,
guys.
Hmm?
Rudy, Worm said, that guy might have been me. Don't plug it in.
Well,
what is
if
that,
it was you.
What
If
is
it
this
was-
no wire connector that you put in the drive port? It's like a Terminator thing.
Yes, this is a Terminator. The nice thing about this diagnostic kit is it doesn't. Yeah, it's called Dr. 64. That's what it's called. The nice thing with this one, this one is really hard to put on. It's the connector itself is kind of newish, and so they go on very hard. There. There's no cables like the other testers you can get, which are great too, but they have cables that go between here and there and so on and so forth. These don't require any of it. You just plug them in and off you go.
They use Bluetooth instead of wire.
No, it's just the way it's just the way it's configured.
It's also blue color, so it must be
and blue colors.
Yeah, of course it's Bluetooth. It's blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay, and then this goes on to the joystick ports. I believe I have everything.
So basically, what you're doing, Rudy, is just making all the ports active. If you like, if something
Well,
needs to
it's
be
like
plugged
it's
You put
like,
a load on all the connectors, or
yeah, it'll do like a loop back. So
Mhm.
it's like null modems. If you guys remember
Yeah.
that, you
Yep.
can plug a connector on the serial port, and then what it does, the signals go out, and then it's looped back and comes back in, so the computer can send a signal, and then it goes back around and comes back to the computer itself. So no, it's good. All right, so now we have all this.
Ruby, while you
Mhm.
fire this up, can you also like fiddle in the menus and test the character ROM that you put out that was faulty, just so we know like the result it gives out and gives the
No.
exact fault it has? Like,
It's good. Well, it won't tell us what the fault is necessarily. It'll tell us if it's good or bad.
okay,
Right. In some cases, it does. For example, memory test, it'll tell you which part of the memory is bad.
okay, again,
But
again.
I'm not sure. I've never really did a full test on the character ROM before. But let's fire this up. Let me switch camera.
But you said you could image out this character ROM, and you could possibly open the binary file and just
Yeah.
do a cursory glance, just check what it does, what it says in the memory.
Can you hear the?
Yeah.
That's the SID chip. So you know the SID chip is good that we basically pulled out.
Mr. Rudy, bring me within single ping range, please.
Bring me what?
What it feels like. Submarines have ping each other underwater,
Yes.
and it just sounded like you sent out a ping. That test was doing a ping. Oh.
So it's going through all the tests. Oh my goodness, it's hard to read on my end.
And by the way, Carther, we've already run the mem test on the 64. There's already a memory test done.
So it's passed all the tests. I'll let it go one more time so you can see it. So it's doing the 0-page color RAM, 64, basic, the basic ROM, the kernel ROM, the timers, which are the CIAs, the interrupts, keyboard, paddles, which are joysticks, the cassette port, the serial bus, the user port, and the SID chip. So it's all testing good. So we have no, this thing is fixed.
That amazes me that there was only one bad chip.
One
so
bad
far
chip.
that
However,
yeah,
there's still one more test that we have to do. And people can think, oh, you're being silly now. It's like, no. The next test is I'm going to be putting a game on there. Now, if you're like, well, how kind of test is that? Well, I've had in the past, this is very rare, 264s that passed all the tests. Everything looked fine. But when you put in a cartridge, the cartridge wouldn't work. And the problem was the PLA chip. The PLA chip was working, but about 90% of it working. There was something in the PLA that prevented the game from running. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to plug in a cartridge.
And what game does that kind of?
Well, we're going to plug in my favorite game. I play this on all my different computers. Is the Choplifter.
Nice.
All right. And then we will.
Now we get to see how good a Choplifter Rudy really is.
But he doesn't have a joystick plugged in.
Can you guys give me just one moment?
Yeah. Hey, Rudy's gone away. Hi, I'm Trina of Trina's Technobabble. Welcome to my stream. My guest here is Rudy and 1-bit. I'm just going to take over the stream now. You'll never know. Unfortunately, I don't have mod powers, or I'd make us all the same size. But
you could take this moment and go on these social media sites and YouTube channels and subscribe, please.
Yep, or go to Trina's, and also go to trinastech.com. You can find links to all my online presence, including my coffee account. If you can afford it, be greatly appreciated. Make a channel donation. Buy me a coffee. Thanks.
All right, we did our job.
Whatever Trina says, just
Do the
All I was
reverse.
doing was promoting my channel.
oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
And then okay, let's get a
You stunned her.
yeah, she's speechless now. Nice. That's a first. All right, so now I'm gonna plug in the cartridge Choplifter. Like I said, it's one of my favorite games. I have this game for every computer I own that has a version of it for that computer. This joystick is a Wacko.
Yeah, I have a
WAC.
pair of those.
Yeah, I don't like them.
I don't either.
This is very stiff, so it's kind of hard to play. But anyways, we're here to entertain Trina, who likes a stiff joystick.
Yeah, I do like a stiff joystick.
All right, let's see if this works.
Well,
All right, so it's working. Can you guys see okay, I guess? I don't know.
yep.
Yeah.
I understand.
You can hear it, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, look at this FPS.
Come on. There we go.
By the way, just a side note, if I'm not mistaken, that joystick is Canadian made.
Yes, I believe so.
I
What's
think
it
they were
about Canada?
Canadian.
There's a lot of companies that did joystick. If we just think about Gravis for the PC, they did a ton of peripherals.
All right, so
This one, I've got one at right there, Gravis. That's from Canada.
Yeah. Yep.
The Gravis ultrasound sound card from Canada as well. Same company.
There you go.
okay, well, I think it's a success. We have this machine working. We have one bad character ROM. Now, before we get close to wrapping this up, I have to ask an opinion from everybody in the chat. Now, I told One Bit that you pay for postage. I'll do the work for free, but you have to pay for parts. He said, sure, no problem. But since it's the character ROM that was bad, I want to get your vote. If you think he should pay for that part, give me put a smiley face or a laughing face in the chat saying, ha. If you think that he shouldn't pay, then give it a thumbs up saying, nope, give it to him for free. So
think about your choice, because it means I live out on the street and rent out my home or not.
So what is the people
One
saying?
thing I would recommend, though, to One Bit would be to consider you putting on those ZIF sockets, because just
No, the
I was
zip
watching
sockets
how
are
easy-
if you're planning to use your computer or this board, for example, as a testing unit for doing other repairs. If you're not doing repairs, you're just playing with it on games or doing whatever.
yeah,
you don't
sure,
need
okay, fair enough.
I would, though, for longevity's sake, I would replace these sockets and put the double wipe ones, and I would put the heat sinks on the VIC-2. Which reminds me, real quick before we go.
Yeah.
We're getting thumbs up. Okay, good. So I guess
I gave a smiley face.
figures. So I guess I'm not charging you for any of the parts that we are using, not even the deoxit. So,
Yeah, but we can ask a viewer to rewind the video and count how many squirts of deoxit you did in the whole video. So
yeah,
if you charge like 15 cents per push, it's
Per
fine.
squirt,
I'll pay.
yeah.
Don't get Trina going now. You're talking about squirts and stuff. She's gonna lose it. All right, so real quick, we're gonna plug in your
Oh, the
Kawari chip,
Kawari, yeah.
and then we're gonna call it the end of the stream. Now, let me just see.
So
if I
what does this chip do?
This is
over the
the
one that was-
modern board that I bought, and it's like a modern video chip replacement. If you had a faulty original one, that's good for this, but it does more. So, like, about the European and the North American divide for software and the speed.
So that's
Like,
PAL and NTSC.
yeah, PAL and NTSC, like it's 50 hertz in Europe and 60 hertz in North America. So all the games have to be committed to one or the other, especially if they use sound and music. But the Kawari chip lets you like do output for either of them, and the monitor that Rudy has can synchronize with either of them. So right now it's probably in PAL.
Yes.
So the way I changed the setting was to use the back bit. This one has a software built in, and you could select it. But there's a switch on the back of your monitor. You can select European, I think.
Not on this one.
It's been a few months since I used it, so maybe my memory is
you need what's it called? Todd, if you're still here, maybe you can help me figure out which one I was trying to think of which monitor. It's not this
normally
one.
I didn't use anything other than just run a software on this.
Yeah. Now there's jumpers on the board too, but I'm not going to touch them. We are getting video, so I'm assuming that this Kawari chip is good. So I would just what I'm going to do is I'm going to
so I don't expect it to fail since it's so new, and it doesn't really need heat sinks because it's a modern part.
I'm going to put the VIC-2 chip on this anti-static bag. I'm going to leave the Kawari chip inside, and then I'll pack it all up and send it back to you as is. I think we're good. We did some tests. This is not. People are going to say, well, this is not the best way to be testing. It's not the best way to do this or this to do that. And people will do things differently. And that's fine. I'm just finding that my techniques work for me. Some people like to go and deep dive into the schematics and start doing all kinds of traces. And that's fine. But if it's more complicated, then you'll have to do that. But sometimes it's something simple like this. It's just, a bad IC that you just, in this case, the ROM, pull it out, put it in. I mean, if you do these kind of tests, it's simple. Anybody can do it. It's pretty easy, just process of elimination and going through it and knowing your diagnostic tool. So, for example, this cartridge, I know because I've done full tests on it, was that you only need 3 chips to work. So if those 3 chips are working, then it's something else, right? So again, these are techniques that I've been using for this and for other, any computer repairs. I do look at schematics. I have, so for example, let me just show you. I've been working on a Commodore PET 8032. It's a 80 column PET board, and I've spent several weeks on this because I've had to go through all the schematics and do a lot of painful troubleshooting. So there was 19 chips that were bad on here.
Oh, wow.
I had to put some adapters for the ROMs.
Yeah, don't start with PETs, kids. Start with a C64 and work your way up.
So it's good to know. It's important to understand and know that you're going to have to, look at schematics, and it's good to know how to read them. I'm not going to go through again right now because it's going
and I think some people have put out some schematic and manuals online, and I think I know one.
Yeah, there's a couple of people I know. I have
the guy called Rudy from Canada.
Yes, I have a diagnostics manual for the 64, for the VIC-20, for the Apple II, the 2E, the Commodore. I have one actually. I built one for the 8032 board now. It's on my GitHub page, and the Super Pet. So, and the Nabu. But if you have socketed components, like I said, this fix was a little easier because everything was socketed. We could just pull stuff out and test it, right? Either the Chip Tester Pro and my other board. I don't have to use oscilloscope. But if these were soldered, then you'd want to use the oscilloscope, and you need to slowly go through the schematic and start tracing things back. And so that makes it more difficult and more time consuming. But like I said, in your case, this was easy. This is great to see that they're socketed. All the main components are socketed. The memory isn't socketed, but that's okay, because if you use a tool like the DES test, it will tell you which chip is bad, and you can just pull it out. The dead test will also tell you, but I found that this is more accurate because I've seen cases where the dead test would say, "Oh, it's this IC." You replace it, and it says, "Oh, now it's this other IC," and then it's like, "Oh, another IC." This will show them, will show all of them, and it does a better test. It's called the March B. It's a type of test. It does. It's a more in-depth, detailed test for the memory, so it's better at catching defective memory chips.
Rudy,
So
Rudy, can you send me after the stream a link for that where I can purchase said
this.
test cart? Yeah, the DES one.
You can get it retro rewind.ca.
Oh, Retro Rewind. Okay, yeah, go deal with those
They're in
guys.
Toronto. You can probably walk over and pick it up. And
I wish I could, but he's on the West End. He's far away from me.
This is this called the Max Switch. It's the newest version of it.
Okay.
I didn't go through all the functionality of it, but I think it's like $20 or $30, $40. I can't remember. I
can help, Rudy. I can help put up a list of all the links of the things you mentioned, and
no.
I'll put some of them, and you can like finalize it and just put it in the description of this video after the stream.
Yeah, we can. I can do that. We can put where you can get parts, or where you can get stuff. Now for all the, I have like original chips, but you can get a lot of this stuff. For example, you have this VIC-2 chip that's a replacement. You can get that. You can get, pretty much anything now for the 64 that's a modern replacement. The 6510, the CPU, I don't think there is a model, but I could have sworn I saw a guy who has a board. It's an adapter that you plug a 6502, which is easier to find, into this adapter, and then that plugs in here and emulates a 6510, because they're both MOS technology and they're very close.
I'm gonna share my screen for a sec, so bear with me, because I just want to confirm what I'm looking at. Is it screen one? Yeah, there we go. Oh. So you'll just have to add it to the stream, Rudy.
Where did you put it?
Separate guest.
It's under the guest. Yeah. Look for it beside me.
Join as a fourth person.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
There we go. So that's the
one. Yeah, it's $33 Canadian. It's not expensive. I highly recommend it. Of all my diagnostics tool for the 64, this is the best one I've ever used. And for $33, if you're interested in getting into this, then this is a great tool to have. Get a multimeter. Get a tool to pull the chips out. Like you can just.
I have 4 multimeters. Am I ready to go?
You can use something like this with a hook on it, so you can actually get under the IC and lift it. And take your time. Don't be a rush to pull chips out, or the chip's not going in and you're going to force it in, because you end up bending legs underneath the chip or into other parts of the socket, and then damaging a good chip. So there's all kinds of. Yeah, you can use a screwdriver too. There's all kinds of different techniques that people use, and
that's what I use for removing the original VIC-2 chip. I just went slow, and there was no big deal.
Yeah, it's like also like when you're desoldering, if you have a socket, you want to replace it, and you're using a heat gun, right? And you're going to go over with the heat gun to warm up the socket, so pull it out. Or the chip, for example, you're pulling out, let's say your PLA chip, it's soldered in, and you want to pull it out, and you're going over it, and it's like, oh, it's taking forever. Just take your time. It's going to heat up to the point where it'll just literally lift right off with no force out of the board, and you're good. You're not going to damage traces or lift pads or whatever. I made a video on using a desoldering pump, if you want to watch that, to talk about the great way to not destroy your boards and to not have your pump constantly clogged up. And
yeah, I want to thank you for that video, because I never thought about the one thing I took away from it was wiggle it a little bit with the pin before you do the sucking. So
so always wiggle it before you suck it. Yeah. So much for PG rating. So that's wraps up today's video.
Thank you so much, Rudy.
You're very welcome. I was hoping to keep it within an hour, but we've gone a bit beyond that. I'm hungry. I want to have dinner too. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we'll see you on the next live stream. Thank you, One Bit. Thank you, Trina, for showing up and for your help. And again, for all the wonderful people that joined the stream, I really appreciate you showing up and spending some time chatting with us. Getting in.
I canceled the stream so I wouldn't be over streaming you.
Well, you canceled your 5th daily stream. Come on.
I know, right?
And if you're not streaming, you're on someone else's stream, like here, right?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things I appreciate is that you tell us not to go crazy with equipment. You can be frugal about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of value in what you did today. And there's a ton of information out there, but like today, you just parsed through it like calmly, and you went methodically. You don't have to test everything either,
Yeah, and hopefully, I appreciate that, and I hopefully it came across to everyone who's viewing it to, make sure you like, subscribe, and deoxit. Yes, Francois. I love that.
In the order you wish.
That's awesome. I gotta remember that. Yeah, just with troubleshooting, don't get frustrated. Take your time, try different things, look at schematics, see what chip is talking to what. If in this case there was a bus conflict, you weren't sure which one it is, you have to follow the schematics, and that takes time, and that takes practice to, okay, I have a schematic, it's got these lines going to this chip, and then those lines going to the other chip, and what do I look at, and whatever. It just takes time and patience and practice. And the more you do repairs, even if it's something like this where it's socketed and it's easier, you're gonna get confidence. You're gonna say, oh yeah, that's a character ROM, and that's the CIA chip, and that's the PLA chip, and so you'll start to know more and more about the system you're working on, and you get more familiar. You'll become more confident, and you can do even more complicated repairs. Like I said, this was an easier one in the sense that it was just one IC. I've had ones where all the memory's bad, the PLA's bad, and the CPU's bad. It's like, oh, well, that takes a lot of time and practice to go through and do diagnostics. And that's it. So if you don't have any other questions from you guys or people in the chat, I want to say thank you, everyone, so much for coming. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rudy.
Bye.
See you, Trina.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.